Hello. This is an unusual video for me. I don't make a lot of videos often, and usually when I do, they're like less serious and they're really weird. But this video, I am going to be reviewing my recent league play for my first round of the Tiny Leaders League, which is a new thing that's been happening in the Tiny Leaders Reborn community. And I will be going through my first round. So we have Faldorn Food Chain Combo deck versus Dwarf Stax deck. Right here will be I will be displaying the first round. So it's just gonna be going through like the. All right, it's got a. All right, and this is when the game starts. Alright, so here I'm just getting out my commander. And at the bottom here, this is my opponent's commander. I rolled a nat 1, which felt really bad, so my opponent was going first. I was hoping we'd tie and then I have an extra opportunity for a reroll, but that did not happen. In my opening hand, I had only green mana, and the deck is heavily red, so I took a mulligan, which gave me Boseiju, Den of the Bugbear, Rite of Flame, Burst of Speed. Hold on, let me pause. Lightning Bolt, Wooded Foothills, Dragon Rage Channeler, which is really good because Dragon Rage Channeler, turn 1, Rite of Flame, turn 2 into Faldorn is really good because Surveil, Commander, turn 3, that's really good. My opponent had Metallic Mimic, which is one of the best cards in their deck because it can come in as a dwarf and bump up all their dwarfs, and when it taps, it creates a treasure off of Magda. But also Brea's Apprentice, which gets Thopters, which will become important later. Mizza Mortars, which is a 4 damage removal spell that can also be used for as a board wipe. Shatter Skull Smashing, Reckless Fire Weaver, and Tangle Wire for control. So it is my opponent's turn. Oh, I bottomed Burst of Speed because it wasn't going to be that good early game. So my opponent plays Shatter Skull Smashing on its backside, which is the land half, not untapped, so saving 3 life. I play Den of the Bugbear into Dragon Rage Channeler. My opponent plays Metallic Mimic. I tell them name dwarf please in the chat. So then here I Rite of Flame into my getting Surveil from Dragon Rage Channeler, getting Faldorn and then pass the turn. So I get immediately Mizza Mortared if I remember correctly. My commander gets Mizza Mortared, which is really good play on their part because I was just gonna go off. Retrofitter Foundry. I really didn't think much of it at the time, but with Retrofitter Foundry drawn is really annoying with Brea's Apprentice because, as you'll see, they'll get a construct off of the Thopter from Brea's Apprentice. I Lightning Bolt the Metallic Mimic so I don't get a bunch of dwarfs on board that are really large. And also allowing me to proc Robber of the Rich, exiling their Goblin Welder. Here, opponent plays Brea's Apprentice. I pass turn. I play a card to proc Robber of the Rich. So I'm right here. I'm tricking a trade. Thing is, I hit their So this is really important. The Cemetery Prowler exiled their Metallic Mimic, which makes artifacts and creatures, in fact, cheaper by 1. So Walking Ballista X equals 1 is free. And so I used that to ping down the Brea's Apprentice, which took 2 damage by blocking the Robber of the Rich, because I didn't want them getting too much value off their artifacts. But we're just discussing about um, Cemetery Prowler's cheapening effects. Then they make a construct off of Retrofitter Foundry, which was really annoying for me. I just take the 4, I get Wastelanded. Tangle Wire, which made me really unhappy, but surprisingly, it wouldn't do that much. I have Noxious Revival in hand, swinging with Dragon Rage Channeler. Here, I felt like I wasn't going to be doing that well. Speaking of the fact that it's just Tangle Wire, I might get beaten down by the Construct token. I was not feeling too good. But when I drew Domri's Ambush, I knew I was going to be able to turn things around because Domri's Ambush on Cemetery Prowler is in fact pretty decent. So I'm just Noxiousing Revival Robber of the Rich because I can get more cards to exile. From here I tap because of Tangle Wire, I Domri's Ambush, the Construct token, I attack with Vigilance, and then these two block, I take away the Construct token. Brea's Apprentice is still alive. From here, I keep going. I go and swing for 3. I leave up mana, and then when blocks aren't resolved, from there, basically, if we go back, I Dragon Rage Channeler. Oh. I Dragon Rage Channeler into Atarka's command, bumping up Dragon Rage Channeler's power, dealing 3 damage off the other option I chose. So that would have left my opponent at like exactly 1 life, which then they conceded with. Okay. And that was the first round. The second round, however, my opponent absolutely destroyed me. Mainly with so from here, I have opening hand 4 lands, Love-Struck Beast, which is good, Professional Facebreaker, Cemetery Gatekeeper, which is good. My opponent has Crucible of the World, Holdout Settlement, Voltage Surge, Sandstorm Needle, Retrofitter Foundry, Urza Saga, and Ramanap Ruins. So my opponent starts out with a Sandstorm Needle, tapped, passes that turn. Taiga, I do all that adventure stuff. Urza Saga, which made me really scared, plays Magda and Retrofitter. From here, I was trying to find an answer to like all these Urza Saga stuff. So I exile their Scalding. I take my Scalding Tarn. I go search for land, and then I get Cemetery Gatekeeper to exile it, so lands are in fact 2 damage to play. So Holdout Settlement deals damage to them. Opponent taps for mana, makes a Construct token off a Sandstorm Needle, which made me feel bad because those Construct tokens in a deck that makes a bajillion treasures is really not fun. Cemetery Gatekeeper gets Voltage Surged, damage goes through. Holdout Settlement taps for treasures, a bunch of Construct tokens. Springleaf Drum for even more mana, even more treasures, pumping up their Construct tokens. From here, I was trying to find an out, mainly through, I sideboarded in Meltdown, which was the most important part of the sideboard because of these tokens and Construct tokens. Crucible of Worlds, getting Urza Saga back, that made me really lose my morale, and I got really sad about that. But eventually, I would keep playing. I got Jessica's Will. I exiled 3. I played Manamorphose, getting a Wolf token, which is really good. I got a bunch of Wolf tokens, which made me feel like I was going to be able to pull off my combo. So, when I gambled, I went for Squee the Immortal, trying to get the combo. However, what I should have done, because I was afraid of discarding like a card for removal. I got Squee because if I discard Squee, it goes to graveyard. But this was my worst play because I should have just gone straight for Meltdown. Because if I Meltdown for 4, X equals 3, so for 4 CMC, I would have just like wiped their whole entire board and swung in my favor. Especially since the Crucible of Worlds is the biggest thing here. It can do a repeat of Urza Saga, Sandstorm Needle, make a bunch of construct tokens, and that's exactly what they did. And I tried my best to find my combo piece to win in one turn, but the thing is, my opponent kept swinging in with giant construct tokens, which just felt really bad. And I think my worst play there was gambling for Squee instead of Meltdown, which would have been a really big thing. Because even casting a Meltdown for X equals 1, if I really had to, would have saved me here because of the construct tokens being tokens. Their mana value is equivalent to 0. So hitting them for 1 or even 0 would have saved my ass. So Unlicensed Terrorist comes in. So vehicles will be coming in, tapping dwarves and crap, making more tokens, bumping up construct tokens, servos, and eventually my opponent uses a Kenzin to close up the game. So here they mistapped for servo unlicensed terrorists. I told them it's crew 2. They undo it. They tap Metallic Mimic, which creates a treasure token. It goes in with everything. I'm dead. But game 3 was really short, and it was a lot on my part. So I'm going to explain it and kind of thoroughly because my draw was really nutty. So I'm on first. So I have Ride of Flame, which is important because it allows me to cast turn 2 Faldorn. Gamble, which I never used this game because I had Jessica's Will. I don't want to just Raid Lovestruck Beast. So what I do is turn 1, I do Lovestruck Beast. My opponent has 2 7 dwarves, Reckless Fireweaver, Mountain, Survivor's Encampment, Professional Facebreaker, and a Mountain. So from here, it's my turn. Wooded Foothills, Stomping Ground tapped. Okay, so I did that because I think I wanted to like just get the Shocklands out of the way because I knew I had like only like what's it called? Fetch lands. So then I drew a forest, which was really good. I tap Stomping Grounds and I get Faldorn out. My opponent plays 7 doors and then here I play Jessica's Will. Now the thing about Jessica's Will is that when you have your commander out, it makes a bunch of mana, which is really good here because my opponent has a large hand because it's just the beginning of the game. So getting a turn 2 commander and turn 3 Jessica's Will was really good because I go up to 6 mana, and these are all the cards are exiled. I couldn't cast the land or a Tarka's command, which felt bad. But the most important part here was Lelia. I instant cast that Lelia, getting a wolf token. So I have currently 7 worth of body on board. And I go in for the attack. Lelia gets pumped up because of the attack, exiling Green Slime. I wasn't going to be able to cast it. So I have 6 damage turn 3. My opponent plays another 7 dwarves trying to make body. With treasure and stuff, I go in, I try and do combat tricks. I exile the food chain with Lelia, but I decided I didn't need the combo to win this game. So I used the braid to take out 7 dwarves, pumping down the other one so all my creatures are safe. I start playing Lovestruck Beast so I can get some more body. Wolf token, Birds of Paradise, Human token, all that stuff. So I have quite the board state here. My opponent plays Reckless Fireweaver, this and that, Smuggler's Copter, which got annoying. So what I did is instead of attacking with Faldorn, I used her tap ability to get Meltdown. I cast that for X equals 2. Taking out both the Great Furnace and the Smuggler's Copter. The Great Furnace takes a while to get away because we both forgot about it until their opponent's untapped step. But yeah, Smuggler's Copter, Fireweaver triggers, all this. Start attacking. Opponent blocks a token with Reckless Fireweaver. Laylee is just giant now. Okay, you see the Great Furnace is now gone because of Meltdown. Opponent plays Professional Facebreaker. I go in, I cast Lightning Bolt. Then I do discard Hull Breach onto Faldorn's ability, exiling, playing Worldly Tutor, getting a token. I also do. Wait, I don't know what I'm doing here. I was doing something with Worldly Tutor, but I was playing the land that I exiled, and then Worldly Tutoring. Alright, then I get Devilish Valet, and then here my opponent concedes because they know next turn I can make a bunch of tokens with casting Lovestruck Beast from exile, and then I was explaining my combo. So you can see, even without the combo, because you saw I exiled Food Chain, this deck can be pretty powerful as a aggro-y mid-range style deck. However, mainly that second game, I could have maybe have turned it around if I played a bit smarter. But the deck overall is pretty decent in being able to hold out. As you can see, in that second game, even though there was a bunch of large construct tokens from Urza's Saga, I was still able to uphold my ability because of Faldorn's tap ability, the ability to cast stuff from exile, making wolf tokens. So Faldorn as commander is really fun. I just love Faldorn because she just makes a lot of value. Like casting Lovestruck Beast on turn 3 and getting 7/7 worth of body in the perfect scenario where you want to cast Love Beast is pretty nutty. Faldorn is just fun. And also competitively viable, as you see here, because she held up pretty good against this deck, and I've seen this deck go off many times against other decks, so I was really proud that I won this first match. Eventually I will post more on my other tournament matches, especially if I win more. If I lose the next one, I'll probably post a video on how I lost, explaining more of the issues with this deck. But I hope you liked the video, and as most YouTubers say, please like and subscribe, maybe even comment. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one.